folks will know, I'm a work at CNN and now a fellow at Harvard, resident fellow at Harvard. But I'm a conservative. I've worked for 4 Republican candidates for president. I've been to New Hampshire quite a bit. So I am a conservative. And about 5 years ago, I had a radio show in Arkansas. And it was a conservative radio show. My show was followed by Glenn Beck, Mike Huckabee, Rush Limbaugh. You know, it was a conservative lineup. And I was based in Little Rock. And the focus was conversation without confrontation, and having the ability to have conversations without getting angry with each other and allowing other sides to speak. And it was from a conservative viewpoint that I was the host of the show, but I really strived to be a place where Republicans and Democrats could come and have conversations. And it was a 2-hour morning show, and I wanted to have a little lighter segment on Fridays, just something fun. I'm a big foodie. I love to cook. I love Food Network. I love food trucks, anything about food. So when y'all are done, I'm going to clear out that table over there. But there's a great food community in Little Rock, and 3 guys that are great food bloggers and really big in the food scene. I reached out to them and said, hey, on Fridays, I would love a fun segment on just food, just talking about food. And all 3 of them are very liberal. I'm aware of that, but based on just the activities that they did. But I reached out to all of them and said, hey, introduced myself and said I would love to just talk about food and your blogs. And 2 of them got back and said that would be fun. I'd love to talk about food. One of them replied, said, I know who you are. I cannot stand what you stand for. I cannot believe you would have the gall to ask me to join your show. I would never have anything to do with someone that worked for Mike Huckabee and supports the values you support. No. So I was a little taken back, and I replied, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm a big fan of your work. I really just wanted to talk about food. I think there's a lot of things to discuss that are fun to talk about, and food is sometimes a great unifier. I said, but I totally understand. I love your work. I love the fact you and your wife work together. So I will continue to read your blog and have a great day. The next day he replied and said, wow, I reached out to some people that you know that are friends of yours, and I apologize. I jumped to conclusions. I assumed that you were a right-wing wacko, which I've been accused of a lot worse. And he said, I made an assumption about you as a person that I shouldn't have. We have a lot of common friends. We have a lot of things that we share in common, and I apologize for jumping to conclusions. I'd love to join your show. The 3 of them came on every Friday from then on for the rest of my show, and it was probably one of my favorite segments I had every week. We talked about food. We talked about what they would do. They would go on road trips and talk about food. And we just built a great relationship as people on something we agreed on. We didn't talk about politics because we would probably erupt into a food fight. So we talked about food, and it was a great lesson for me to understand, okay, this guy doesn't believe what I believe and align with me politically, but I still wanted to reach out and find a place where we agree and build from there. And I've enjoyed the friendship of all 3 of these guys, meeting their families. We've gone to events together, and that was an opportunity where we reached past the political divide and built a friendship outside of that.